13 years. I have waited 13 years for this horrific day. Now is the time I smile, and I thank the guards for escorting me out, and I will saunter to my freedom. I will now be as eligible as any other pedestrian to stray freely around the city without having to worry about being humiliated with a chain around my hand securing myself to my own personal spectator. I should be happy, thrilled, overbearing with excitement. I should be jumping around laughing as if there's nothing better than life itself. But I can't. Remember to visit the doctor every 3 weeks for a checkup. There will be a man that will drop into your house every few days for the rest of the month. My teacher said as he unhooked the handcuffs that gripped tightly around my wrist. I nodded, unable to seek out any education of my language at the moment. I was confused. I was now going to be alone, and I had no one to help me set my life back on track. They all abandoned me. As you say, they were dead, gone of the world. Nobody but I had the capacity in their brains and remember them. It happened when I was 11. We were at the park for my little brother's birthday. I was the type of girl who was pretty outgoing. I could easily whip up a few friends if I needed to, though I had no idea that it would change my life forever. He was distant, as if he didn't want to be near anyone. I overheard him shouting at his mother over something I don't even remember. I had climbed a tree at the time, so they had no idea I was watching them. As much as I wanted to break up the argument, I held my place and waited for the right moment to jump down and run off. That's when she hit him, right across the face. I remember her exact words. "I don't even know you anymore, Jeff. You've changed ever since we moved here." The sound of her voice was of pure grief. It was as similar as the sound of a mother losing her child, as if they were parting away from each other. I hated it. I always wanted kids of my own. I dreamt of having one. My biggest fear was that they'd hate me and try to leave me for someone else. Like I wasn't going to be good enough for them. Though I am afraid to even go near a child, let alone actually see one since my arrival at the asylum. The mother sobbed away, wiping tears from her cheeks as she departed from her child. The boy, who I assumed was called Jeff, muttered something at her as I gazed at her striding off. I carefully climbed down the tree, clearly being spotted by the boy. He looked at me, and we held eye contact for a moment. I didn't know whether to run or not, but my social part of me decided he'd make a great friend. Right, friend. "Hi," I said not too eagerly. "I'm Lacey." His eyes widened for a moment, as if I had really just said that after overseeing him and his mother fight. But after a moment, he just went with it. "Yeah," he said awkwardly, which made me feel embarrassed. "I'm assuming you're Jeff?" I said, hoping to get some form of conventional social communication with him, though he just shrugged. I couldn't help but notice his attractive, lively emerald-color eyes. They made his brown hair suit him perfectly. I envied his good looks, and here I was with thin black hair and imperceptible brown eyes. Sorry about that. He put his hands in his pockets and slowly backed away as if he didn't want to be rude from leaving. But being me, I surely wasn't going to let an attractive young boy like him get away from me that easily. "Hold up!" I called, skipping after him. He stopped and looked over at his shoulder back at me. "What?" he asked. It was in confusion, not severity. I was glad he wasn't annoyed by me overly talking. "Do you want to play for a while?" I asked, with hope filling in my eyes. "Play what?" I know we might be a bit too old, but playing on the playground sounds like fun, I suggested, poking his arm with my thin finger. He stared at me blankly for a moment before allowing a small smile to show. Okay. We both made our way to the empty playground. My family was too busy fretting over my little brother's party to notice I was with a mysterious young boy. They've warned me numerous times to stay away from boys. Only when my mother was a kid, a gang of teenagers almost killed her. But my grandfather used to be a cop and rescued her before they could have done anything to her. And that was when her and my father met. Them only being children at the time seemed quite a romance story to me. Child love was quite romantic, since the day my mother turned 18 was the day my father proposed to her. I never got tired of hearing that idealistic story. I always dreamed of having my own personal romance story to play out. To live in like a fantasy, like the girls in those books who take advantage of those of the ones who they love, and that would kill for it. I wanted a man that would kill for me, protect me, and want me, and only me. That was a dream. I wanted to be their princess who successfully found her prince. I ran to the swing set and jumped on it, making me fly up high. Jeff followed me and took the swing next to mine. I bet I can go higher than you, I said, flinging my legs in the air. I saw him sit there staring at me for a moment as if he wasn't sure if he should or not. But eventually his lovely smile crept back on his face, and he swung his legs in the air like me, and of course he started to go higher than me. That's not fair, I pouted. You're a boy and you have more leg muscles. You're a girl, you have less weight. He shot, swinging past me. How original, I spat, putting out all my strength into my legs. I heard him laugh. It was quite odd. Just a moment ago he was yelling at his mother. I had assumed him to be a stubborn boy, but no, he was ordinary. He had high social skills, nothing was wrong with him at all. I couldn't have affected him to be this way. After 15 minutes of swinging, I eventually gave up. Okay, you win, I breathed. I know, he said proudly, though it was full of sarcasm. I was about to run to the playground, but I heard someone call Jeff's name. We both looked over at his mother and another little boy with her, but he seemed a bit older than Jeff. Who's that? I asked, pointing at the boy. My brother, he mumbled. Here, let's go to the playground. But she's calling you, I said, but he grabbed my hand and pulled me away. I decided to go with it and follow him. Do you usually do this to your mom? I asked, not meaning to. He gave me an odd look. To my surprise, he started to laugh. A strange laugh, though. I got chills just listening to it. The question is, does my mother usually treat me like dirt? I stared at him. Does she? I wouldn't know any other way to live, he said with a grin. Okay, I'd admit it. This kid was kind of strange. I climbed up the ladder into the tiny tower, and he followed me. We could see the whole park from being only so high. It was quite nice, actually. I rested both of my arms on the bars above the slide, and Jeff did the same next to me. It's wonderful this time of year, he said in such an innocent tone. It was as if he didn't just freak me out a few minutes ago. Yeah, I guess. Do you like surprises? He asked, stirring some brown hair away from my eyes, or his eyes. I do.